Okay, I've mentioned this about people, knowing people from your past. When I say you or your, that's just how I do it. I don't mean you or your. But these people somehow, they try to come into your present. Like you haven't really had much to do with them since you were a child or teenager, since you lived back home and maybe you moved from there. And this could be anybody from, your family, from just people you went to school with, or people that you worked with when you were younger, church you went to church with. Maybe you grew up, and you knew your now significant other, your spouse, when you were young, and you knew their family. Okay, or it can be your friends and their family. Okay, from your youth, but now way in the currently, decades later, it could be as much as decades later. I'm going to get this out in a minute. But you hardly ever see them, only when you go back to your old hometown. You go back home in that way. And you see them and everything, but overall, you don't really have a relationship with them anymore. When you see them, you talk, you maybe all get together, go out to eat, you and other friends. But they're really not that significant in your life anymore. They try to be. As you find out, they're doing it behind your back. They're doing it with others, just whatever it is. And if it's family, it's a bit different, or in-laws. Okay, so now I've mentioned this before, so I said I would talk about it in more than one way. And here's another. Do they change? Like you grow up with somebody, and maybe your sister has some friends, and they're not good. Your sister, your brother, they're not good people. You know them not to be good people. Whichever sibling it is, or siblings, they hang out with the wrong people as growing up in school, and you're not that type. Your family may even call you the black sheep of the family, because you're very different in the way you see things. But the people that they know, they're bad people. They come from bad families, and they do these kids, they do bad things. And as you grow older, whenever you go back there, you see them, and they're not much better. They've just carried on the way that they were when they were young. And they see you, they try to start problems. Or your sibling tries to enlist them in the fight against you. Okay, so it's something going wrong with the dysfunctional family you grew up with. Or like I said, it could be in-laws or anybody. But that they are trying to ruin your reputation. So when you come back there, everybody knows, everybody, but people that you know and they know and all that. Too many people have some kind of a bad opinion of you. Like you could run across an old neighbor, or the kids that grew up in those houses, and they have this really bad attitude toward you, and you have no idea why. You've moved off to the big city or something for decades, and nobody can tell you. Maybe eventually somebody does, and this kind of thing. But do they change? Do these people change? Now, the ones that have the really bad behaviors, I would say, it's been my experience. I cannot say for everybody, but my experience, I do not know any of them that have ever changed anything. They just carry on. They worsen. Okay? I'm going to put it as I see it, as I have seen it. Now, as I have seen it personally, they just continue to worsen. They get better at being bad. And, maybe when they get, do they mellow? Not really. Some kind of mellow, but they just don't have the physical strength to do whatever it was that they were doing. So they kind of mellow that way. But as far as mentally, no. They might enlist their children or whomever to continue whatever it is. Okay, but now, I'm not one to say one size fits all. It doesn't. One size does not fit all in many of these kinds of situations. And so to say, all these people had really bad behaviors like narcissistic, histrionic, like the cluster B and the DSM, narcissistic, histrionic, borderline, and antisocial personality disorders, the symptoms of and all that, they have those really strong, do they change? I have known people from all of them. And my experience is no. My experience. Does that mean that everybody on the planet? No. It means my experience, has been this way with people that I have known. They do not change. But does that mean everybody on the planet can't change? No. Again, no. It's not a one-size-fits-all. Some people can change, in other words. Let me make that clear. Some people can change. I mean, we all grow, hopefully. And with that growth, change, a bit. I'm talking about, like, if you have something about you, when I say you, I don't mean you, but something about you that is annoying like that. I have a habit of when I tell a story, I say you. I should just name them you. And the other one's they. But make it so much easier instead of saying that person, or this, that, Anyway, but a habit like that, a habit of, not being like, not listening, not having not being a good listener. Or, these kinds of things. It's kind of difficult because my degrees are in both psychology and sociology, and I was wrapped up so much into that world that the diagnosis, to diagnose is like quick reaction. And too much can get diagnosed. Too much. The person has that personality, that kind of, characteristic, that trait, that whatever it is. And it can be diagnosed as bad. I don't do that myself, really. Just to quickly diagnose them because of one. I don't diagnose people. But the behaviors, I can say, that's not a good one. But can a person that has been in a dysfunctional family and they didn't know any better as they age, but they're not the bad person. They're not really awful people. They're not, that deep. They're the black sheep. If they picked up a bad behavior, can they change it? Possibly. Okay? You can't just say, across the board, people are not going to change. And I've noticed a lot of people like to do that. I've noticed, online, a lot of people want to say everybody, or none. I've said that so many times before, all or none, black or white, along this line of dichotomous thinking, and some seem to think that it makes them impressive. And some people do see that as very impressive. They're impressed by that person because they say all of these, they put it up there like a war against that person, that type. No, they're not. One size doesn't fit all in that. I've never known one size to fit all in this. But anyway, I want to talk more about these. Like I said before, this is the second one I have. I've had other ones, but I never got around to making the videos. But anyway, this is another one. In my personal experience, have they changed? So I'm going to be talking about people that I knew from the past, like decades ago, who are trying to, I'm saying me this time, but people who, they want to be in that person's life currently and causing problems because they are certain that they have some kind of role, they play a role or played, and therefore it still holds true. Boy, so much. But like I said, I've had this experience But most of my examples are always going to be, generally always, are more of a hypothetical kind of thing. Something that's more familiar, would be familiar to more people that they can relate to. So, anyway, wrapping this part up.